Okay, this week we're going to be working on drawing tangent arcs and kind of an introduction to dimensioning. And if you remember back in 1101, we did tangent arcs under geometric constructions in AutoCAD. Well, the principles are the same, it's just the tools you use them are a little different. Now, you can use a circle template. It's fairly quick and easy. You can use a compass. It's a lot more exact. There's a few more steps if you use a compass to do it. But basically what you're doing is you're creating a parallel offset to the lines that you have in order to get your tangent arc drawn. And I'm going to demonstrate one way to do it, and then we'll look at a different way to do it with the circle template. So let's go with a 1/2 inch. And so I've got a couple of lines drawn here. I just drew them. I didn't try to make them parallel or horizontal or vertical or anything. So I'm going to take I'm going to draw 2 1/2 inch circles. And I'm not drawing the full circle, as you can see, okay? And then what I do is I use a straight edge to draw my parallel line. That's kind of light. I need to go with a darker pencil, I guess, so y'all can see it. Of course, these would be construction lines, so you'd be doing it with a very light pencil. Okay, and then I'll do 2 coming up the side, and I'm using a 1/2 inch because that's what my tangent arc is going to be. That's going to join the 2 lines together. Okay, so I've drawn those 2 arcs. Okay, now that is the center point for my tangent arc. And so I lay my, oh, I did, dummy, I did 1/2 inch circles. I should use the radius of the tangent arc. So that means I got to go up to a 1 inch. I wasn't paying attention there. Okay, so if I'm using a circle template to do 1/2 inch circles, that means I have a 1 inch tangent arc. And so I line up, I could, if they're perpendicular, I can use my center lines. If not, I have to line up. Okay, now if you were using a compass, this is the method you would use. You would do your offsets to get parallel lines and a center point, and then you set your compass and you draw it. If you're just using circle templates, whatever your tangent arc radius is, you double it to go to the diameter. So if I want a 1/2 inch tangent arc here, I go to my template, I go to the 1 inch diameter hole, and I want to line up so that both lines are tangent to the circle. Okay, works the same way, inside, outside. Just you have to be very careful getting your tangent lines lined up. And then if you have a circle where you got to go tangent arc to arc, if you remember, it still works the same. We'll go with a 1 inch arc here. It still works the same, just you got to be a little bit more careful establishing your tangent points there. Okay. Now when we do this on a drawing, and I'll show you working through the drawing, when I go to darkening, I'll darken my tangent arcs in before I darken my lines in. Okay, just so you kind of understand that as we're going forward. Now what we're going to do, we're going to take this drawing right here out of the textbook, figure 639, page 249 in this edition of the textbook. And notice this is a 2-to-1 drawing. So to draw it at a 2-to-1, we've got to multiply all of the dimensions by 2 as we're going to draw it. Okay, but we're going to draw this and we're going to dimension it. And just so you can see, this is what it looks like when you're done with it there. Okay. So to start with, we want to center this thing up, and we've done this before on some other drawings. So you want to measure your horizontal distance. This one is 10 1/16 by 7 1/16. So I'm just going to drop that down to 10 and 7. And to get my horizontal spacing, what I do is I subtract the width of the object and the depth of the object, which in this case 0.75 and 0.5, but I have to multiply those by 2. So I'm going to subtract 1.5 and 1 from 10. It gives me 7.5. Divide that by 3, gives me 2.5. So I'll come over 2.5 inches from both sides and make my vertical marks. Okay, and vertically we subtract the height and the depth. 7 minus 3 gives me 4, divided by 3 gives me 1 1/3, which is like 1 5/16. I'm getting a little crowded on my table here. Okay, now I'm not going to video me drawing the whole thing. I'm going to work through part of it just to keep you in sync with multiplying everything times 2, and then I'll come back when we get ready to excuse me, start darkening and doing the dimensioning. So the width in the book is 0.75, so that means it's going to be 1.5 inches. And my depth in the book is 0.5, so that makes it 1 inch. And if you want to do the miter line at the top, feel free to do that if it helps you to draw easier. That's fine. Okay, now our height is 1, so that means I'm going to draw my height at 2. Okay, now I've got my 3 views blocked out, and what I will do initially is I will go ahead and draw these squared off here at these corners, and then here also. I'll go ahead and draw them square, but I'm not darkening anything yet. I'll put my center lines in for my hole and this arc. And I'm going to go ahead and get those things done, and then I'll come back when we get ready to start using the template, okay?